If you were to face an ancient Sith Lord in combat, you would learn that we are as children playing with toys compared to the prowess of the old masters.
3,000 years before the rise of the Galactic Republic, and 21 millennia before Ajunta Paul's reign as the first Dark Lord of the Sith, the Rakata invaded the world of Korriban in hopes of integrating it into their infinite empire. However, the mighty Rakata were forced off the planet after a series of battles with the natives, who, spearheaded by the legendary Sith King Adass, defeated the would-be conquerors. An unusually charcoal-colored Sith pureblood, Adass was a tall-statured regal being, chosen from birth to be the next ruler of one of Korriban's many warring nations. Throughout his youth, Adass demonstrated, quote, great intelligence, fighting prowess, and a tremendous aptitude for Sith magic. In battle, Adass encased himself in a suit of spiked ebon armor, and armed with 2 massive battle axes, both of which were forged by powerful Sith magic, took to reuniting the disparate nations of his homeworld. In doing so, Adass became the undisputed King of Korriban, and his period of rule became known as the Reign of the Axe. For over 300 years, King Adass ruled the Sith people of Korriban, who eventually began to accept Adass as an undying being, a god, whose rule would reign eternal. It was at this time that King Adass was bestowed the title of Sith'ari, meaning overlord in the Sith tongue, by the Kisai, a caste of beings that devoted their lives towards studying the very nature of the dark side. After Adass's death, the Kisai would put into place the Sith'ari prophecy, which stated that one day, a perfect being free of all restrictions would arise and lead the Sith to their doom. Yet, through their destruction, make them stronger than ever. Over 26 millennia later, Darth Bane, first of the Baneite Order, would fulfill this prophecy by first destroying the Brotherhood of Darkness and then initiating the Rule of Two. Three centuries into King Adass's rule, the Rakatan soldiers of the Infinite Empire invaded Korriban. At first, the Rakata had pursued a much more diplomatic route, imparting upon the Sith King the knowledge through which he would create the first Sith holocron. However, when this failed to lull the Sith ruler into their confidence, the Rakata outright invaded the planet, hoping to overpower the Sith King's forces through the use of their force-powered technology. In response, King Adass gathered his forces, and despite his advanced age, personally led them into combat, his battle axes cutting through the enemy as easily as if it were a sickle cutting through a field of wheat. It is said that King Adass was so powerful, when he roared, his foes fled in fear, and his allies rushed to his side. He enslaved the foolish and executed the idealists. When warriors challenged him, he drank their blood soup to honor their deaths. Thus, even as the Rakata landed their ships, their soldiers spilling like sand onto Korriban soil, the king's soldiers chanted their monarch's name. This battle became known as the Invasion of Korriban, and ended in a landslide victory for the Sith forces. However, King Adass was not done with the Infinite Empire just yet. His forces stole the hyperspace-capable ships of the Rakata and marched on to claim such worlds as Tund, and Malachor V, before even capturing the future Sith homeworld of Ziost. But, like all great things, his reign was not to last. During the Sith campaign, Adas perished, the great Sith'ari dead. Without their leader, the Sith of Korriban fell into civil war, and in a fraction of the time that it was built, the great Sith Empire of King Adas crumbled. Almost 21,000 years after his death, a group of Dark Jedi known as the Exiles landed on Korriban, and managed to destroy Adas' eventual successor of that time period. Ajunta Pall, the leader of this group, was declared as the blood heir to Adas, and the first Dark Lord of the Sith. The Sith Empire, under Ajunta Pall and his successors' rules, thrived for many years. King Adas' holocron, handed down through the generations by the Shadow Hand, who had been Adas' second-in-command during the time of his rule. Eventually, the holocrons fell into the hands of the fallen Jedi Freedon Nod. Through the Sith King's teachings, Nod was able to conquer the planet Onderon, where, even after the Dark Jedi's death, the Sith King of old would hold the planet in an era of darkness, which would only be broken after the Jedi buried his holocrons deep under the seas of Kodai. It is said that even the Dark Lord Vitiate feared the spirit of King Adas, whom he believed could be a significant threat to his power should they return. The legacy of the legendary Sith King would live on, through the works of such beings as Darth Sidious, and a dark force user by the name of Sevis Ka. His holocron would eventually fall into the possession of the Dark Lady Lumaya, who would return it to the Sith King's homeworld, Korriban.